The latest move in the National Basketball Association. The last big boy move.
Big boy.
Russell Westbrook. We talked about the last show. Russell Westbrook traded for CP3.
Yeah.
And now we've debated heavily between ourselves whether this move is going to pay dividends for the Rockets. Russ is one of the few contracts that is actually more expensive than Chris Paul, I believe. But it's a move they feel they had to make because Chris Paul and James Harden's relationship had gone to a point where it was unsalvageable and dysfunctional. And a lot of people have been talking about it. I, off the bat, don't think it really changes their status in the West, especially with the other offseason moves.
You don't think it changes their status
You
in the
disagree. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to just shit on you right now?
Okay, well, the fact that you said it doesn't change their status after they just added a fucking former league MVP.
Former.
Huh? He hasn't slowed down much for the last few years. He hasn't.
All right, go on. Tell me why this move is going to benefit the Rockets and where you see them sitting in the West.
To me, between those two, we already know they have a relationship. They played on OKC earlier together. And to me, it's all about respect with those two. I feel like James Harden's going to show him the respect that play starting, the ball's going to be in Russ's hands. He's going to have to play more of it too now. 100%.
I don't think
he was one of the driving factors in Westbrook actually coming to Houston.
Yeah, because he hated.
I feel like
he hated Chris Paul, and obviously
he hated Chris Paul, but he could have easily have found someone else that would just allow him to be the number one option on that team. And
he still is number one option.
No, but I mean, and complete ball handler and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he found himself a guy like Russell Westbrook, which he knows how he plays because he's played with him. He's watched him play all these years. He knows that. I guess people have called him a ball hog. That he dribbles up the court. He takes the ball up. I feel like maybe he's ready to take that shooting guard position, let Russ be the point guard, and if those two start playing together well, that's two MVPs, man. Those are two former MVPs playing together.
True enough.
And
so where do you see them landing in the West?
I'd still do, because Clippers and Lakers are so strong. I still have them at third.
Okay,
but I feel like they're a contender.
You think they're a contender?
Yes.
Now, how far below? Obviously, you're not putting on the same stature of the Clippers and Lakers. How far below them? And do you think, what are their chances in beating either of those teams in the playoffs? Because you're going to run into one of those teams, most likely.
Both those teams don't have both those teams are lacking point guards. They have Rondo on one side and Patrick Beverley on the other.
Yeah, but when you have that much talent all around.
Patrick Beverley's a bit better because he's a great defender, so he might be able to. But even he himself, when they interviewed him, they asked him who's the hardest player for you to guard in the NBA.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've seen the reports coming out of the Lakers camp.
What's the reports?
There's a strong consideration of putting LeBron James at the point guard, which I would probably do if I was them.
Yeah, but you think LeBron James guards Russell Westbrook?
No, that's why Avery Bradley is probably going to be in the starting lineup to defend the other team's point guard.
Starting lineup over who, though?
Well, Kuzma might come off the bench then.
But
Kuzma will play 4. So Bradley will be at the 3, Danny Green will be at the 2, and then potentially Kuzma at the 4, Anthony Davis at the 5. I think that's pretty good.
I don't know.
And then if you want Kuz coming off the bench and Boogie at the 5, AD at the 4.
But then
because AD said he doesn't want to play the 5.
Who do you have guarding, what's his name? Harden.
Danny Green. A.V. Bradley on Russell Westbrook and Danny Green on James Harden.
Bro, those are two former league MVPs. I don't think either of those guys can hold them down.
A.V. Bradley is a
and we've seen Danny Green
defender.
Slip up.
I don't think you've watched a lot of A.V. Bradley over the years.
Yes, but has he shut down a player at Russell Westbrook's stature ever?
Hey, that Celtics series last year, okay, against LeBron James, he did pretty well against him. You telling me he didn't? Huh? Obviously they lost, but if you can, Iguodala won an MVP for playing. Iguodala won an MVP for playing, like, not even decent defense, just subpar defense against LeBron.
Houston right now is one of the only teams that are with Golden State that are focused on the backcourt. The other teams are kind of going big.
Blazers, and we talked about before.
Okay, but Portland, don't even bring up Portland, man.
We talked about before how the Raptors realized that a backcourt-centric offense is not winning ball. That's why they had to move DeMar. The Washington Wizards run that. It never works for them.
Golden State runs that and it works for them.
Because they have the two best shooters, and that's why we say teams have to stop.
Harden is one of the best shooters in the league. Would you not agree?
Until it comes to the playoffs. Time and time again, my friend. All right, let me tell you why I don't see them taking a big step. Obviously, they're a little bit better, but I don't think it's as.
I think they're a little bit better.
I don't think it's a monumental.
You got rid of Dinosaur and Chris Paul, and you put in a
you think
former
he's a dinosaur, but
dinosaur.
But it comes down to who is his replacement and how much is he really better. So have you ever heard of the stat win share percentage?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so win share percentage, for those who don't know, is the number of wins contributed by a player per 48 minutes. Now, the league average is .100. Okay. Chris Paul, all-time, and I know he's not as good as he was all-time.
Yep.
He's the 4th all-time in career win share percentage at .247. There's only 3 players in the history of the NBA that are better than Chris Paul for his career. I'll give you one guess at who those 3 are, if you want to take a guess, but it's legendary guys. It's Michael Jordan, David Robinson, and yes, Wilt Chamberlain. But I acknowledge that he's dropped off heavily compared to last season.
Yep.
And last season, he was still at .172, the lowest of his career. Yet, Russell Westbrook this past season was at a whoppingly low .124. And Chris Paul had his lowest win share percentage of his career. And Russell Westbrook still managed to be lower than that, barely above league average. Looking at the rest of their game, sure, Russ averaged 7 more points per game and over 2 more assists, but his usage percentage was 30.9. You familiar with usage percentage? Very simple.
Yep.
How often is the ball in your hand per play per game? 30.9%, where CP3 was at 22%. Russ obviously had the ball in his hand much more and was able to attempt to do more. His field goal percentage was lower. 3-point field goal percentage, lower. So they're all within really 1%. CP3, I think 3-point percentage was ahead by 6%. An effective scoring percentage. So listen, just listen to me. Effective scoring percentage accounts for, a 3-pointer is worth 1 more point than a 2%, right? And again, CP3 was ahead by 4% last season. So I just don't see how a guy who needs the ball in his hand as much as he does, only stat really is better. Look at free throw percentage, it's not even close. 65% for Russ to 86 for CP3. But only stat he's really better. Assists were almost identical too. He was ahead by 2. Had the ball in his hand way more than CP3. Now he's going to a team playing with a guy who plays a very similar style in James Harden, who's now that's gonna take the ball out of Russ's hand as much as it was in his hand at OKC. Is gonna do much more and make them that much better. The only statistical category where he's got an arm up is in points, and his field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, effective field goal percentage are tremendously lower, and his free throw percentage. And now he's playing with a guy who needs the ball in his hand just as much, and now he's got the ball in his hand less. So how's he gonna do more? In this case, less is not more, and especially when it comes to Russell Westbrook. That is my case as to why they're not that much better as you think. And against Clippers and Lakers, I give them no chance. And even if Warriors, Klay Thompson's back and D'Angelo Russell is still there.
Klay Thompson comes back healthy?
Yeah, I'm taking Warriors over Houston again.
Yeah, but how likely is it for him to come back as the same Klay
Thompson? The reports are now saying he'll be back mid-season.
Oh, fuck these reports, man.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I'm telling you how
ACL, he'll be okay.
A lot of athletes aren't okay after the ACL tear,
85, 90%. We talked about it. This guy's not a cutter, a slasher.
You catch and shoot.
He's catch and shoot, off-ball movement, just running around screens.
He did injure himself playing that exact way.
Well, no, he was going to the hoop.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can't just catch and shoot every play. You have to go to the hoop.
No, I'm saying it was a freak injury, though.
I know. But I'm saying if you're expecting the same Klay, he'd play that way and he got himself injured. I'm telling you, there's going to be a little...
Every player in the league is going to take a breakaway and try and lay it up. No, obviously.
I know. But I'm saying there's going to be hesitation there. 100%. Especially coming off that big of an injury.
Yeah, but if he was
KD, at least for the first
half KD, whether KD has an ACL or Achilles as he does, I'm a lot more concerned about him coming back because he does so much more than just shooting. Where Klay can rely on his laurels and just shoot and be super effective and impact the game.
KD would have pretty much a whole year off to recover and to get better.
But I'm saying
you're expecting Klay to come halfway through a season. Well, that's January, a quick February. Recovery, man.
No, but I'm saying even if KD had the ACL, I'd be more concerned about him coming back than Klay because of style of play. Where KD is more going to the hoop, creating his own shot, posting up guys, driving. Yeah. Where if Klay just relies on his shootings, which got him where he is, he can still be super effective.
Okay.
And impact the game.
Let me get back to Houston's issue here, though.
Get back to it.
Comparing Chris Paul stats and Russell Westbrook stats, it's not fair.
How?
Westbrook for a long time, what were these from last year?
Yeah, just last season. He was playing with PG.
Well, after PG got his freaking thing injured, Russell Westbrook became again number one option on that team. Chris Paul has never been a number one option on that team. When is he?
On Houston, no.
Exactly. So comparing those stats is kind of, you're comparing a guy who was a number one option to a guy who went behind a guy who average 30 points in 30 games.
Sure, but doesn't that lend credit to my argument of how Russ had the ball in his hand so much, and now he's going to have it in his hand less, and how's he going to do more
than what CP3
CP3 was actually decent, even though he fell off at picking his spots and contributing where he needed to. Yeah. Russ is not going to have to do that, but is he going to be able to? And the problem with Russ is, it's not that he's a terrible shooter and all that stuff. Yeah. I think he's actually can be a decent shooter. Early in his career, we saw how good he was with that mid-range, the DeMar DeRozan pattern and elbow jumper. It's that the last few years, he's decided to take blatantly bad shots. Bad shots. You cannot deny that. I think if he just stuck to
Dame
open
Lillard's
looks,
was a bad shot too, but eliminated OKC.
Yeah, but he's a better shooter than Russ.
Huh? But I'm saying who else
and
is
he
there
actually
to
had
take
space.
that shot?
And he actually had space.
Bro,
Russ takes bad shots.
And you gotta acknowledge that. I sent you that most exciting Russell Westbrook plays.
That was of his whole career. How many of those were?
Huh?
Great.
No, but a lot of those came from recent years after KD.
Okay, that's plays.
But I'm saying
we're talking about plays, winning a chip.
But how many of those were you call bad shots, but they won them the game?
I actually didn't watch that because I just didn't care for it, to be honest.
Maybe this is where my
I clicked play and I was like,
comes from.
Went back.
Okay, but again, what I'm saying is, I'm going back to stats don't tell the whole story of everything. It doesn't. It gives you a part of it, but there's more to it.
That's what I just said. The eye test tells me that he just takes bad shots, and if he didn't,
respect.
So can he change
between the players is what I'm talking about.
He didn't respect
Chris Paul. No. Chris Paul and James Harden. We're talking about Houston here. Paul George is in the Clippers right now. I don't know what's going on.
But can Russell Westbrook change his mentality and his game
with a guy like Harden that he's played with before and that they have that strong relationship? I feel like he will.
That's if he hated Paul George. If him and Paul George did not get along.
He didn't hate Paul George, but he had to adjust to playing with Paul George. Now you were the number one option. He's not going to
adjust to playing James Harden? When he played with James Harden, James Harden was six-man off the bench, though. James Harden was playing 25 minutes a night, maybe.
I don't know. Give or take, maybe
a bit some more. Nights he might play 30, but give or take, he was 20-25 minutes. And now this guy's playing 40 minutes, and it's his team.
There had to have been an internal conversation between these two guys.
Shit. There was an internal conversation when Chris Paul came
for James Harden to be pushing for this guy to come. He knows that how he plays.
But they both know. Correct me if I'm wrong. At that point of the offseason, James Harden sees what's going on in the West, the East, the rest of the NBA, where every player has gone.
Yeah.
There's no other free agent left for him to add to his team. Jimmy Butler, who he wanted heavily as well, was having phone calls, and Jimmy said, "Nah, I don't want to come."
Okay, but then...
Okay, I'm just saying, there's nobody available at that time and point. Him and Chris Paul's relationship, as reports say, and now is very clear, unsalvageable, as I said earlier. And his only option is to bring back a guy who he's played with in the past. No shit, he's going to go and do everything he can to force that in, because he does not, for the life of him, want to start opening day with Chris Paul on his team.
How they play. You think James Harden doesn't know how Westbrook plays? You think he has
been what, 5 years?
Idea? You think he doesn't see the games outside? He's played with against them.
What were his options? What was a better option? Playing back with Chris Paul, who he hates? It was option 1, playing with Chris Paul. Option 2, trading for Russell Westbrook.
And what are we talking about here? We're making Houston better, bro. We're making Houston great.
A little bit great.
This is the goal.
Might need to start shifting because
this is the goal, bro.
There's no way that trade makes them great.
It could. It possibly could. If they play well together, you have two former MVPs on the same team. Dude, that team could be great.
We have said how MVP should not be given out in the regular season. If it was given for the postseason, James Harden would not have an MVP.
Okay, but this is the way it is. This is how basketball's been. Okay. We're not changing it out.
I'm saying I've acknowledged they'll be a little bit better. They might a few more wins in regular season.
A lot better. At the
end of the day,
Chris Paul was when it comes ever close to MVP. Adding an MVP is a lot better. You're not just a tiny bit better.
Is they're gonna have a better result next year in the postseason? For me, the answer is no.
Well,
simple. If you disagree,
I feel like no, but okay, to get to the finals, I feel like they have a better shot with Westbrook than they did last year. You think
marginally?
You think
a little bit, but marginally.
You agree that it's a better shot?
Okay, yes, but I'm not saying it's like, oh, I think they have a legit shot. I don't think they have a shot to win a chip this year. I think those are two players, I've told you time and time and again, they're not players you can win with, and now you have both on the same side. They don't play winning styles of basketball.
Maybe that's what they needed. You said those two players will never win a chip. Maybe what they need is to join together and win a chip together.
If Russ and Harden both have to change their style and their heads, have to flip them inside out, I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, you see those two come June in the finals. What do you say?
I'm wrong. What do you mean?
You sit on here for a whole hour and you talk about how wrong you were.
All right. I will.